Yep. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast, number 1793. Walk down memory lane. So I apologize for being extremely late. I got caught on a walk down memory lane. So in our in the mastermind group that I belong to, they had posted a picture that was taken at the very first Networking Riches 10 years ago. And I always thought it was in May, but the photo is date stamped June 21st, 2014. And I'm sort of like, wow, it was June. So it would have been July when we had the first meeting. And it just took me on this whole walk down memory lane. So I had to share the memory of that very first meeting with the mastermind group. And I kind of got caught up and totally lost track of time. But it just, I just thought, and then, the day started off with getting work done for clients and that sort of thing. And then when I finished work, I was sort of like, I haven't done my own personal genealogy for a while. Let's go see if there's any updates in the DNA testing thing. Do I have any new links in there that weren't there before? So I can see where they fit in my tree, reach out to them, blah, 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 blah. So I did that, and I have had a blast going through that. I've got stuff printed off here that I've been going through and checking things off. I've found one that's either a second or a third cousin on my mother's side of the tree, according to the DNA match. I'm not 100% sure. I cannot find what she has on her tree. I cannot find in my tree. So I'm sort of like, oh, this is going to be an interesting one. She had a couple of little pieces of information in there. So I took that and expanded on that, found some other information that matched up with that information, which also added to the information that was in her tree. And so I made a little mini tree. You hear me talk often about mini trees. Mini trees are in Ancestry. I have my big main tree, which has over I don't even know how many people I've got in there now. I know it's over 8,000 people. And some of them I know are incorrect. It's finding them again. That's the problem. But I come across them every now and again, and then I get them all organized and straightened out. And I have my list. And I also have a non-list as well, because I have a list of people I don't even know that are incorrect, but it probably is. But I've been going through and organizing everything and working on stuff, and then going from that mini tree, just working it just a little bit, because I want some more information from this person to see if what I found matches up with what she has, and then maybe we can use that information to help find where in my tree she fits. Know at what point her family tree comes into my tree. But it's like, okay, it's not going to be any of theirs. It has to come from at least this couple here, because this woman, the woman is my first cousin 3 times removed. So she's going to be the link that comes in from the other side of the family. But then I also found that this last name is also on my dad's side of the family, but there's only one listing of it. So I'm going to investigate that side a little more, because it could be on the maternal side, on the paternal side, not the maternal side. So it could be on dad's side instead of mum's side. I don't know, but I'm having fun finding out. And I'm like back into the skin. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just have so much fun just getting in there and digging and digging and digging and digging and seeing what information I can find out. So it's been great doing that. But this walk down memory lane, just remembering back to that very first Networking Riches, and when Casey very first time he presented the Platinum Inner Circle and what it was all about and all that. I have no clue. All I heard was that he was starting a mastermind group. It was called Platinum Inner Circle. And I'm like, in my brain, I'm in. And Brad's sitting here next to me. He's on the aisle seat. We're in the very front row on the very front first table, and Casey's standing like 6 feet in front of us. And I'm in the middle seat, and Brad's on the end seat, and this one's empty. And so Brad's sitting here, and all I heard from Casey was her starting mastermind group. It's called Platinum Inner Circle, and that was it. I'm in. In my brain, I'm in. For the next however many minutes he was talking about this program and what it was and everything else, I'm trying to think in my brain how to put it in a way that Brad would understand it and get why we needed to be in this group. And Brad, very logical thinker. Everything has to be in order, and he makes lists. I make mind maps, just to give you an idea on our differences. If somebody says you got to make a list of things, he will go and make a list of 20 things. Me, I will mind map the 20 things and get it out a lot faster than he does, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which was a very interesting exercise one time when somebody he was working with a friend of ours. He was working with him, and he gave him a question that he had, and he says, it's going to take you probably about a couple of hours to get this done, but I want you to ask yourself this question and then list 20 possible answers. And he said, this is a 2-hour exercise, so I've got to sit down and do this 2-hour exercise. And I went, what's the exercise? And he told me, I said, you can get it done in less than 20 minutes. He looks at me and goes, how am I going to do that? And I said, you mind map it. And he's like, mind what it? So that day I got to teach Brad how a mind map works. He could not comprehend that as you're going along this train of thoughts, that ideas come up that should be put over here, because over here is the category that it would fit under. I'm like, that's not how mind map works. You just go with the flow. You start on this chain and go with the flow. Yes, we can link it back to over here, but when we write it down, because he couldn't understand why I was writing random stuff down in a chain, and why I wasn't organizing it. And I says, no. But in less than 20 minutes, he had his 20 answers, and he was still totally confused on how the whole mind map thing worked. So while Casey's doing this presentation on this very first presentation of Platinum Inner Circle and what it was, I'm sitting there trying to think, how can I put this in a way that Brad's going to understand it? I need to put it in a way that his logical mind, and so I'm trying to sit there and think of different ways I could word it and stuff like that. And I have no clue how long the pitch was. I have no clue whatsoever. All I know is that Casey goes like this to turn his microphone off. Brad turns to me and goes, we're doing this, aren't we? I just looked at him and went, yep. Less than a minute later, our paperwork was handed in. That was Casey's entire pitch. I have no idea what it was. It wasn't until the next Networking Riches, when he pitched it again, that I actually paid attention to what it was that I got pitched. Yeah. If anybody had asked me what was in the pitch first time he did it, no clue. All I heard was he was starting a mastermind group. It was called Platinum Inner Circle. I was in. I didn't care what it was. I didn't care what it did. I didn't care what the cost was. I was in. It was as simple as that. People are looking at me like, you didn't even want to know what it was. I said that was beyond my capability of thinking at that time, because I had to think how to convince my husband, my logical thinking husband with his engineering mind, his software architect mind that does lists, as to why it would be a good investment for us. And yet the whole time, whatever Casey was saying resonated with Brad, because he just turned to me and says, we're in, aren't we? We're doing this, aren't we? Yep. And we were in. That was it. What was in Casey's first pitch? No clue. Don't even remember what was up on the slideshow thing. No clue whatsoever. None. Yep. I had to pay attention the next time he pitched it so I could see what I got myself in for. But I was already in. It was a fantastic time. It's been a great ride over the last 10 years. There has been, and I'm grateful for every person that has been through Platinum Inner Circle. We've still got some people that started with us 10 years ago. We've had people that have come and gone. We've had people that's come and gone and come back. We've had people that, unfortunately, like Brad, have transitioned from this life to the next. And so, we've had lots of laughter, lots of tears, lots of encouragement, lots of celebrations. And when Brad passed, that group just stepped in and supported me through all of the grieving process I've been through making sure that I kept moving forward. Some of them would even just like send me a text message, how are you doing today? Or just a note of encouragement. I get a lot of text messages every day just from people within the group, just checking that have been, when Brad passed, they were just checking in. I had people from this group who hopped in a car the day when they found out Brad had passed, and they, because we had put it on Facebook, and they drove all the way down to San Diego, from LA down to San Diego just to come and be with us. In fact, I think they were planning on coming down anyway, because that Sunday that Brad passed, we were actually, had people that were coming down, friends that were coming down from LA, friends and family from LA coming down just to say goodbye to Brad, because we knew he didn't have much longer. And so when they arrived, before they came down, they actually knew that he had already passed, but they came anyway. They hopped in the car and came down just to support us, and to let us know, how much they loved and cared for us, and that they were there for me for anything that I needed and that sort of stuff too. And they've been there, and that was just an incredible feeling. This last 10 years it's been a wild ride. Yeah, anybody that comes in, I always tell them to buckle up for a wild ride. And I look back over the 10 years and everything that I have been, Brad and I've been through, and then me by myself, and all the different things I've tried and, tried and not worked, but learned and grown from them. It's just been and it still is a wild ride. And I am so grateful to Casey and the group of the team of people that he's put together, and to all the members that come and go. Some stay for a short time, some stay longer, some come back, some just go and we never hear from them again. Or some of them we do actually hear from, because I stay in contact with some of them. And, some of them I've made lifelong friends with as well. So, and they may not be part of the group, but they're still part of my world. And I'm just appreciative to every single one of them. And it was just to see that photo from 10 years ago, and just to remember that day and how awesome it was. And that little story about how he got signed up for the group. It was hilarious. It was so funny. I'm just like, even in the car on the way home, I said to Brad, I says, I was not expecting you to turn around and say that to me. He says, what do you mean? I says, well, when you asked me if we were in, and that we were doing this, and I says, I did not expect you to say that at all. I says, I was sat there for the entire, and I told him the story. I was sitting there for the entire thing, trying to figure out what to say to you in a way that you would understand it, that I could then convince you that we needed to do this. So yeah, I think he never said it, but I think he had an inkling that I would want to do this. And so he was paying attention to see, is it going to be worth the investment? And it certainly has been, every year. So that was our little walk down memory lane today. And I got to do some genealogy after I finished work today. I got to do some awesome work for my clients today. So overall, it's been a really, really good day, to end the week. I did not watch any movies last night. I will admit that. By the time I got back from the walk, it was 106 degrees Fahrenheit when we went for a walk last night, which is around 41 or 42 degrees Celsius, I think. It was a little on the humid side. And by the time we got back from that, I was just exhausted. And I'm like, there is no way I can sit and watch a movie. It's probably going to be the same way tonight as well. So I may watch the movies this weekend. I know I have a couple of appointments with calls and things. I get to talk to my grandsons tomorrow morning. And then I have a meeting with a friend tomorrow, late morning. And then Sunday I've got a really cool workshop to go to. So I'll tell you more about that based on my thoughts of it once I attend it. So that'll be really cool. But for now, I'm just going to sign off, take Zeffie for a walk, and we'll come back. And Zeffie's, for those who have been asking, Zeffie is feeling a lot better today. She did have, for breakfast, she had scrambled eggs with some quinoa put in there, and some pumpkin puree was put in there, and a quarter cup of dog food was put in there as well. And she started eating it and then left about half of it behind and went off and just slept. And so I picked up and put it in the refrigerator because of the eggs being in there. And I didn't want it sitting out all day. So I put it in the refrigerator, and then later on I asked her if she wanted some food, and she jumps up off the seat and follows me into the kitchen. So I pull it out and just mixed it up to loosen it up, and put it down for her, and she finished it. So tonight we'll do something similar for her for dinner tonight and see how she does with that. The only thing is that, last night she was starting to come back into herself, but she was definitely back in herself today. And there's a couple of times she indicated that she wanted to go outside. This is so funny. She wanted to go outside. So I said, okay. So I went to take her outside. We got to like around 110, I think it was today, 100, I was 109 when this happened. And so I opened up the back door. She walks out, turns around, and walks straight back. And I looked at her and says, I thought you wanted out. And she just carried on walking, like, I'm done. That was my out. And so then later on when I had my break, I said, she indicated she wanted out again later on. And so I went out, and this time I stepped out onto the patio and to see if she would follow. And she's standing back from the door, and I like peered into the door and go, what are you doing? And she says, come on, you want it out, so get your butt out here. So she comes out, turns around, and walks back in. Like, I've been out, I'm done. I'm like, okay. So that was her adventure outside today. So we're now going to go and get ready to go for a walk. I might wait till around 7:30 when it's going to be like 104. But this time of the year is just so hot, and we've had a little more humidity than normal in Arizona. We're usually a dry heat, and we had a little bit of humidity today, so stayed inside, kept cool. So yeah, we'll see. I want the sun to go down, because when the sun goes down, when you walk into the pond areas of we've got a park, and they've got these big basically these big grass areas that are basically a pond that become a pond during storms, and then they've got storm drain. They've got drain holes throughout the floor of these bowls for the water to drain away. But basically, the storm drain comes in, fills up this pond area. Is it reclamation area? I don't remember what it's called. And then so it's a break in the storm. It's not putting it straight into the storm system. It's doing it in bits and pieces, and it's sort of like a stepping program. And where the hell was I going with all of that? Oh yeah, so in the evening after the sun's gone down, when the sun's behind the hills but hasn't fully set, it's actually cooler to walk along the floor of these bowls, and like the head's in the heat, but the feet, you can feel this cool air, this cooler air around your ankles and things. And there's a big difference in the temperature up around the head and the temperature that's down around the ankles. So yeah, I like walking in those areas. Zephy just wants to get on the path. She wants to get up on the concrete path and walk, and I make her walk down the middle of these things. But anyway, and rabbits are everywhere. But anyway, we're out of here. What are some of the things that have taken you down memory lane lately? What family tree research have you done lately? Let us know in the comments below, and we will catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hei konara.